Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Happy New Year. It is the Kevin Jackson Show, the first broadcast of the new year. We're all excited over here. You know why? Because we left a pretty fantastic year in 2017. Year one of the, what do we call it? The recovery? The return of America as we know it. Year one was last year. We are in year two of the recovery of America. And this one is the full year of Donald Trump. See, Barack Obama still got a few days in January that he could say, oh, I was still president. Well, not anymore. This is the first full year of the Trump presidency. You get what I'm saying? Was it January 21st will actually mark his first full complete year? Am I right on this? Yeah, I think I am. So the point is, now we enter an entire new year of Donald Trump. We enter an entire new year of what it means to be America. American. What a difference a little N can make. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys are here. KJRadio.com. You can reach us by calling at 844-551-8255. Who's going to be the first person to call the show this year? 844-551-8255. So I hope you had an amazing new year. I can only believe if you're listening to this program, you had one of the second best new year that you've had in a decade. The second best new year. Look, I approach every new year fresh with the idea of out with the old, in with the new. Let's clean up the schedule. You know, and if you're smart, you start to take things off your plate. What I try to do at the end of the year is say, what can I delegate? What can I, what do I not need? And think about all the emails you've got saved up. And people, I've got a gazillion emails that are unread. Really? You going to read them? Be honest. I looked at my email. I had 23,000 unread emails. Now, the majority of it's junk. And there are a few things that got dropped through the cracks. People say, hey, Kevin, when you're in Montreal, look me up, whatever. A few things got dropped through the cracks because I'm not a super organized guy. I need an organizer. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a few things drop through the cracks. You can't do it all. So what did I do? I went through. I was forced to do it. Google told me you're at 107% of your Gmail account, and it started popping a message up every 3 seconds. So I had to get down to 99%. So I'm down to 99% of my capacity in my Gmail account. That's how many emails I still have. But I promise you, the minute that I figure out how to just go back through and say everything from 2015 back, just delete it. I don't care what it is. Boop, delete it. If it's in my main account, if it's in admin or something like that, no. So you got to clean up. And that's what we're going to do. Politically, we're going to clean our plate. But here's what's funny about it. It's not going to be us doing it. The left is already helping us to clean our plate. In their strategy, and I heard they've got the new DNC director, the Hispanic dude, he's like, we've got a plan for all 50 states. I'm thinking, really? What's your plan? Let me tell you what the Democrats tell you when they tell you that they're planning something. They're planning skullduggery, malfeasance. They are planning, how can we cheat in all 50 states and win? The Democrats aren't looking for real policy initiatives that help the country. You think that the Democrats are putting together a strategy that says, let's figure out how to create jobs. Let's really do that. Let's figure out how to bolster up the economy. Let's figure out how to make sure that we don't have any bad actors in America that are trying to hurt citizens, illegals, refugees, claiming to be refugees who are really terrorists. Do you think that in the year 2018, the Democrats have any different agenda, any different solution than they had in 2017? They have brought all their baggage over. But you know what? Here's the good news. They are going to unpack their own bags. They're going to be throwing their bags out like it was Schindler's List. You remember when the Nazis just told all the Jews, throw your bags over here, and then they went through them and got all the jewelry. Now, I'm not alluding that we're going to go through their stuff and take the jewelry, but if the shoe fits, I'm just saying these guys are going to they're forcing their own baggage out. Why? You guys are going, Kevin, where are you going with this? They're forcing themselves out because every time they say, oh, Trump did this or the Republicans are doing that, they out themselves. We no longer believe them. In the 2 years, now going into we're into our third year of this reprogramming. Most of America, and certainly conservative America, and by the way, part of Democrat, leftist America is into a reprogramming mode. And that reprogramming mode says, I no longer believe anything these leftists, pukes say. They don't believe them. They don't believe CNN. They don't believe the New York Times. And so now when we're shifting this over and the Democrats are trying to bring all this baggage over, their own people are going, and I'll prove it to you. I'll let you hear clips from last year where people are like, I don't know. I was thinking that Donald Trump was bad with this FBI thing, but now I don't know. I'm beginning to believe him. This is the intelligentsia. These are people who have been trained never to go against the leftist narrative, no matter what. And you know what they're doing? They are abandoning it in droves. So we're going to be talking about that today. Here's what I want to know from you. I hope you had an amazing New Year. I know you did. For me to ask you, hey, how was New Year? It's a rhetorical question. You had an amazing New Year. You celebrated, to quote Prince, like it's 1999 and there was not going to be a year 2000. You celebrated. You said, I'm going out with all the gusto I possibly can. And you hugged loved ones, you called, you texted, you Instagrammed, you whatever. You did it all. You Snapchatted. All the ways you could communicate, you communicated with the people that you care about. And you know what else you did? You came into 2018, I'm going to say it for you, with a smile on your face. You were exuberant. And here's the dirty little secret that the left doesn't want to tell you. So are they. They've got amazing prospects and new jobs and opportunities and things abound. They started shoring up issues with family and some friends. They don't want to tell you, but they're coming into this year happier than they've ever been. Politically, they're going to look at it, but trust me, they're happier than they've ever been. We'll be back, folks, listening to Kevin Jackson.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Did Don Lemon get drunk this year on TV? You know, I watched. He didn't, did he? No. Yeah, I looked for it. In fact, I didn't even see Don Lemon. I think they just said, we're not putting him on. And he's so irrelevant. God, I used to have respect for Don Lemon on CNN. I did. I thought, you know what? He seems like he's, tries to be middle of the road, balanced, what have you. And apparently he caved to his audience because I heard him say when I was doing stuff with CNN in Ferguson, he said he gets a lot of hate mail from people at CNN who apparently he wasn't hard enough on police and, the conservative and Republicans and things like that by trying to be more balanced. So Don went on to the dark side. Anyway, I didn't see him get drunk. Mariah Carey actually did not lip sync this year. She sang. I had to see it. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to see it. And every girl on TV, I'm not kidding you, they all want to show like tons of cleavage. And look, I'm all about the cleavage, but God, is there any decorum anymore? It's like, what was her name? Brittany. I was going to say Whitney. Brittany, who by the way has no cleavage, is showing cleavage, and she looks like a 10-year-old boy that's trying to pump a little iron. You know what I mean? Got the little baby chest. And she's out there with this. And oh my gosh, I got to say this before we get too much into this. It was the worst performance I've ever seen. If you go to Vegas and you see Britney's show, you just got more money than sense. It was horrible. I watched 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. I watched 3 minutes of this train wreck. And if you've ever, I can only describe it this way. If you've ever seen somebody who can't dance, she's in these heels, which makes you have to kind of tiptoe anyway, like platform heels, like from the 70s. And she's in this red outfit showing her little boy cleavage. And I'm not kidding you, she's tippy-toeing around. And she does this move where she comes, goes towards you, towards the audience on the stage, like as if she was on her knees and kind of like not a crawl. I can't describe the move, but I'm not kidding you. It looked like amateur hour at like the high school musical. In fact, it was worse. And of course, she's lip syncing to the song, and it was obvious. It wasn't even like they were trying to disguise it. And the only thing that and maybe to me this is too old, but they put her on like a trapeze bar and they lifted her up, and the audience was oh, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what you guys would pay. What's it, $200 to see a Vegas show now? If you paid, I wouldn't have paid $2 to see that show. Being honest. And the song she sang is got to be 10 years old. Look, I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just telling you, that's what they brought New Year's in on whatever channel I was watching. And I was thinking, it was because it was Dick Clark's whatever. What's that guy's name? They used to be on the music show, American Idol. Anyway, that guy that looks like a lizard. Yeah. So I'm watching this going, what? Is this what constitutes entertainment? Man, no offense. Let me just see Lady Gaga sing. That girl can sing. Anyway, so resolutions. You got resolutions? I tell everybody I don't do resolutions normally. I do a 4-year resolution, and I may have to revisit some because I'm rusty on piano. I haven't spoken French in ages. So, but I do 4-year resolutions where I at least try to do something that's going to be meaningful, that I can take with me. So I'd be curious to know what your resolutions are and your illusions. If you have any of those. Maybe you have illusions of grandeur. Oh, man, I'm punchy today. You know why? Because it's the new year. Come on. You guys got to go with me here. Trump made resolutions. Did you guys see Donald Trump? I don't know if this was his first tweet because I think he said Happy New Year. But his first, country tweet, political tweet of the year was no more money to Pakistan. Blasted Pakistan. They say it was his first tweet of 2018. He says this: the United States has foolishly given Pakistan more than $33 billion in aid over the last 15 years, and they have given us nothing but lies and deceit, thinking of our leaders as fools. Said that Monday morning. They gave safe haven to terrorists we hunt in Afghanistan with little help. No more. And so, and I'll talk more about this in a bit, but that was his first tweet. You know, here's what I like about Donald Trump. There's no, he's not keeping this a secret. He's saying to Pakistan, look, you haven't helped, you're done. What happened to the UN? They pulled $285 million. It's not a lot given all that we give. We give them like, I don't know, a couple billion, $6-7 billion. I know it sounds like, there's a few chump change here. It's a lot of money. And we are the biggest donor to the UN at well over 20% of their budget. I think our thing is 22%, but it's more than that when you throw in some of the other stuff that we do. So he's put these guys on notice. But what I like about this is this isn't the tweet to Pakistan. A lot of, he put Pakistan on notice. No, he didn't. He put the world on notice. How many countries do we get money from? And let me tell you, I know what you guys are thinking because you write to me. You say, Kevin, why do we give money to these people who are terrorists? They're sending their terrorists over. It's for exactly the reason I'm talking to you, why it's so great to have a guy that one tweet like this isn't directed to Pakistan. It's directed to every country that condones terrorism, that aids and abets terrorists in any way. And he's saying, first of all, we're going to pull our funding. And like I said, the thing about Trump that makes him so shrewd is he knows that the world revolves around money. And because the United States is the wealthiest country in the world, by far, the first thing you do is you pull back your funding. And now what we've done, we've had a policy of appeasement. It says, oh, so what? You keep sending us terrorists and you keep disrupting our economy and disrupting our way of life and doing all these crazy things that are completely antithetical to the American way of life. Here's some more money, because that's the liberal solution to everything. If we just give them more, well, of course, they're going to capitulate. They're going to say, oh, my gosh, they're so good people. Let's leave them alone. That works, right? Look at the war on poverty, $18 trillion into it. And what do you have? You have more entitled people in this country than at any time in history. People that believe it is our responsibility to take care of them. Why? Because you give them more. And I'm going to tell you something, conservatives listening to Kevin Jackson here right now. You'd be the same way. If every time you needed something, somebody stepped up and, well, I'll help you out, Bill. And you were like, oh, geez, well, thanks, Bill. At first, you'd be magnanimous. You'd be, oh, my gosh, it's amazing. I'm going to do my best to pay Bill back. But when you run into tough times and you can't, and old Bill shows up and says, hey, don't worry about it. Here's a little more. Eventually, you will lose respect for Bill, and you'll just go, I don't have to worry about Bill. Why do I care? Bill doesn't seem to care. Bill's not looking for dough. So that's what happens, and that's what we've done. And we've done it domestically, and we've done it foreign. And so Donald Trump's going, not anymore. The days of wine and roses is over.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
We're almost 1 year into the Trump administration, and the end of any year is a time for assessing, especially this one. Mike Allen had an interesting observation this week in his Axios newsletter. He pointed out how little President Trump and perceptions of him have changed in the last year. Think about it. Roughly the same number of people support him today as did at the beginning of his administration. The Russian probe has remained constant. The elected Republicans remain skeptical of his leadership, but largely compliant. The elected Democrats, they still don't like him. The war with the media has never subsided, and neither have his Twitter fingers. All true.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. That was Smerconish, Michael Smerconish of CNN. And I think this guy needs a bodyguard. He just kind of laid out a little bit of, what he's going to say next will blow your mind, but he lays it out. And by the way, he's not finished. I'm going to play the rest of this clip. here in a bit, but I want to set this up to explain to you what's going on in 2018. Yeah, he's talking about Donald Trump's first year in office, and in the opening to this show, he actually says that the president, Donald Trump, could be the most consequential president of the modern era. Now, I want you to consider the impact of a CNN anchor recognizing the obvious. Finally, admitting it on public TV, the fake news network admits President Trump, for better or worse, as Smerconish put it, has impacted America in profound ways. Now, he plays a bit of cover his butt, and I'm going to play the rest of the clip because this way we get to dissect it more. But this probably, coming at the end of the year, is CNN's way of, and this is just my opinion, of saying, you know what? We got to start looking at things differently. And here's the other thing. This isn't the only guy that said something positive about Donald Trump. We'll get to that later in the broadcast. So let's play the rest of this clip, let you hear what he had to say, because it's mind-blowing, and then we'll dissect it.
But there's a temptation in those observations to conclude that his administration, the passage of the tax bill notwithstanding, is static, gridlocked, that nothing's getting done in a polarized climate. That would be a mistake. In fact, if the pace of change continues for the duration of Trump's presidency, however long that might be, I think he could become the most consequential president in the modern era. Consequential meaning most important and significant, having the biggest overall impact. As with the criteria that Time magazine uses when determining its person of the year, this is not necessarily a good thing. Think about it. A Supreme Court position that was by rights a Democratic pick instead went to Trump. And his influence on shaping the federal judiciary is far greater than just Neil Gorsuch on the nation's highest court. He broke a Senate record this year by confirming a dozen new U.S. Circuit Court judges, the most during a president's first year in office in more than a century. At the rate that he's going, by next year, more than 12% of federal cases heard will be by Trump-appointed judges. Those picks will be his longest-lasting legacy. The tax bill that he's just signed is the first major overhaul of policy since the Reagan era. Whatever the effect, that won't be undone anytime soon. And by ending the individual mandate, President Trump has felled a major domino that will upset the economic viability of the Affordable Care Act. After all, how can you provide coverage for those with pre-existing conditions if you don't have everybody in the insurance pool? Trump has made cutting federal regulations a priority. He's revoked 67. He's delayed or derailed more than 1,500 others. He's pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, okayed the Keystone Pipeline, recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and refused to recertify the Iranian nuclear deal. On his watch, the Iraq prime minister just declared victory over ISIS. The New York Times' Ross Douthat called it a war Trump won. In immigration enforcement, ICE has arrested more than 100,000 people who entered the U.S. illegally, 70% of whom were already convicted criminals. His State Department has undergone massive restructuring and shrinking, again, for better or for worse. And don't forget about the influence that ideologically driven members of his cabinet are having out of the spotlight. Betsy DeVos at Education, Scott Pruitt at the EPA, Ben Carson at HUD, Rick Perry at Energy, Jeff Sessions at Justice. No, Time magazine got it wrong when not naming the president its person of the year in 2017. By their own definition, the person who most affected the news and our lives for good or ill and embodied what was important about the year was absolutely Donald J. Trump.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Kevin Jackson Show, KJRadio.com. There's a temptation in these observations, Smerconish says, to conclude that his administration, the passage of the tax bill notwithstanding, is static, gridlocked. I don't know who's tempted by that. You'd have to be brain dead to believe that we're gridlocked. Donald Trump is moving legislation through at a rapid pace. In fact, I was in not a Twitter battle, but I responded back to Ann Coulter, where she says, where's the wall? Where's the wall? And I'm like, hey, Ann, yeah, Donald Trump, what the heck's he been doing, huh? What are you talking about? Gridlock, this guy just got He has the economy moving in spite of the left. All their efforts to derail him, and he's just boop-a-doop-a-doo, moving along. The executive orders that he's issuing are effectively undoing Obama's executive orders, or he wouldn't be doing these executive orders. He's worked with Congress on all these different things that he's doing. And Obamacare, which everybody said, oh, they can't kill it. What they going to do to Obamacare? How many years? We had 7+ years under Republican leadership, if you want to call it that. I use the term loosely, to do something about Obamacare. Trump comes in and says, look, I'll rescind it. Day one. Oh, he didn't do it day one. Well, guess what? Show me good news for Obamacare. Anywhere. Show me where people go, oh, wow, yeah, it's thriving. People love it. It's amazing. You want to know why you don't hear any good news about Obamacare? Because they're no longer spending your tax money to convince you of how good it is. With Barack Obama gone and Hillary Clinton's big old buttock sitting over in, Chappaqua, there's no way for them to convince you of the albatross that was hanging around the neck of the U.S. economy over this piece of crap legislation. So there you go. And Donald Trump says, look, I don't have to fund this. I don't have to enforce an individual mandate. And he issued an executive order that says you don't have to pay this. And that's the beginning of the end. Show me good news about Obamacare. Oh, remember what they told? Republicans better have a good replacement. When have you heard that? The good replacement was, how about we just go back to the norm? How about we go back to where people no longer pay double what they were paying before? They can have the plans they want and the doctors they want. How about we do that? Go take a poll of Obamacare, a legitimate poll. And we'll get into some polling here in a second. So anyway, here's the guy. He's telling you everything that about Donald Trump and what's going on with this administration, and whether, in our case, all good things. He's talking about judges, and he even says this, Time magazine, you screwed up. This man was the most prolific in modern history in terms of his first year performance and in changing the entire dynamics of a nation, if not the world. And you've missed it. He knows his audience. He can't just give you glowing endorsements of Donald Trump because people would revolt at CNN. But truth be told, he knows this guy has set the stage for America. And look, what do you want me to do? You want me to go through and tell you about the stock market? Do I really need to tell you about the stock market? Okay, I made a wrong prediction. I thought the stock market would go to 25,000 between now and the end of the year, and it got to 24,700 and change. I bet you there are people that would have bet you in June of this year that the stock market wouldn't go above 23,000. What do you think is going to happen in the stock market? Anybody out there, call the Kevin Jackson Show, 844-551-8255. Give me your prediction for the stock market just in the next quarter. You want to go for the year? Let me give you a prediction for the year. Don't be surprised if the stock market tops 30,000 by the end of this year. Don't be surprised. So Smercornish is telling us partly what we already know, but here's the thing, and this is the thing that's most poignant to me. He's telling an audience of anti-Trumpers, look at everything this man has done that's going to impact you. Now, some of them are panicked. What did he say? Some big percentage of the rulings that will be done that come up will be done by Trump judges. He's appointed more judges. He's obviously got the Supreme Court. Let me put it to you this way, folks. We are so lined up from a political perspective. And I hate to say it that way because I don't have politics that are left or right. I have politics that are what's the best thing for this country. But we are so aligned right now, it scares the Democrats beyond belief. And Smercornish of CNN was forced to say that. That's the critical thing to think about.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. So we were just talking about CNN's Michael Smerconish, who discussed the Trump presidency first year. And I'm going to tell you, I can hardly wait for year two. I can hardly wait to get the economic news that comes out of the retail season. You know, the end of the year is retail. I can hardly wait to get the jobs report numbers. By the way, the last quarter jobs report numbers went up. Unemployment, 4.1. We are practically at full employment. But it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that because the jobs that are now being talked about allow for mobility. You're starting to see people go, you know what? I'm not stuck in this job, in the sense of you better keep it. Keep your insurance. You know how many people right now are looking for jobs or stuck in jobs because they say, I got to have insurance. It became so untenable, so expensive to have Obamacare. They're like, I got to find something just to get insurance. I can speak on this because I know about it from a personal experience. Family members that are going, man, you know, this Obamacare killed us. You know, if we lose our insurance, things like this. That was I don't know if you guys can remember back this far, but that wasn't, it was a deal for you if you lost your insurance, but it wasn't a big deal. You were like, oh, you know, I'll figure it out. Nowadays, people are making life decisions. Where do I work? Why am I staying with this job? Whatever. What job can I get? Get me anything that just gets me insurance. And that's not what Obamacare was supposed to do. Do you feel better about your health care decisions under Obamacare? I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to give you, I can tell you right now from my personal experience, the Jackson family, I do not feel better. I don't feel good about my prospects if something happens to me, what doctors I can choose, whatever. I don't feel better. I can tell you, having spent a small fortune because of everything that's been going on, you know, it's like, are you kidding me? I got to pay for that? But I thought, but.
Sorry, Mr. Jackson, that's a $5,000 copay. Doable right now. You must pay it now. But don't make us hurt you.
Barack Obama promised us the world, man. He delivered nothing. So Smerconish he's talking about what Donald Trump has done. Appointing these judges was a big deal, folks. We talked about this. Record number of vacancies in the federal and district courts going back to the 1950s. And McConnell actually said, he said this on Hugh Hewitt's radio show, he says, we're rapidly filling them. And he says, let me tell you the definition of rapidly. We've already done 9 circuit court judges this year. Barack Obama did 3 in his first year. And he had 60 Democratic senators. That's how Donald Trump has appointed 300% more circuit judges than Barack Obama year 1. And Barack Obama controlled the Senate with a majority. So McConnell says he wanted to get 3 more judges confirmed by the end of 2017. I'm not sure if he did, but they were going for 12. Keep in mind, folks, this is the courts like the Ninth Circuit Court in California, one of the most leftist-leaning courts. These are the types of things that these guys are looking at. These are where the decisions that get made, the levers that get pulled, folks, are at this level. Who was it that just recently, this gay couple, the Baker had to pay $135,000 to this gay couple because he wouldn't bake the gay cake. That's an Obama judge. The reason why President Trump couldn't get this travel ban done was because of a Obama circuit court judge. I don't know, he may have been a federal, but it was an Obama judge appointment that essentially overruled the president of the United States. Now, I was listening to Smirconic, and I didn't play the clip again. If you'd have to go back and listen to the last segment, folks. And you can do that, kjradio.com, at your leisure. But we were playing a guy from CNN, Smirconic, who was saying Donald Trump is unquestionably the man of the year. Whether you like his politics or not, he has been the most radical change in the history of this country over the past, I would tell you, past 3 or 4 decades. The closest you could go back is the Carter-Reagan time period, because that was the biggest transition between weak-kneed foreign policy and somebody that said, we've had enough. So this is where we are. Donald Trump inherits a pansy president's economy, his style, to call it leadership is to insult leaders, but whatever you want to call Obama did. And now you got a guy like Trump. And I'm listening to Smirconic, and I was thinking, he says for better or for worse, but he's really telling you in his CNN little opening monologue for better. Even State Department spokesman John Kirby, we talked about him a while back. He says he was asked about, I think it was Wolf Blitzer who was interviewing him. He says, I do absolutely. He goes, I mean, him and his team, they have. He goes, and he's talking to Wolf Blitzer. He says, if you told me a year ago, Wolf, that the Chinese would cut off all natural gas, that they would cut off importing seafood from North Korea, that they would put pressure on the oil exports to North Korea to that degree that they would have, I would have laughed at you. He says, I didn't think that was possible. This administration has been able to do that. Now, again, there's more work that needs to be done. But he says, I'm encouraged to hear Secretary Mattis and Secretary Tillerson talk about diplomatic efforts, being in the lead. The fact that there's still maneuver space to explore diplomatic options. What he's saying, folks, is no matter what they said about Donald Trump, he's a war hunger, war mock, war hawk, whatever. He's actually a diplomat. Now, here's what happened during the holiday, the period, between Christmas and New Year's. The Chinese were caught shipping oil to North Korea, doing an oil exchange with North Korea. And President Trump tweets out, caught you red-handed. I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, look, we caught you. You're violating sanctions. And I talked about this. If you think he's going to let these guys get away with this, you're crazy. So South Korea confiscates the North Korean ship. I think that's where we stand right now. I don't know. I haven't followed it that closely, but think about this. So we caught the Chinese red-handed trying to get oil to them. They're going to have some, I don't know who's going to die over there, but somebody's going to die because they shouldn't have been caught. They shouldn't have been doing it, and they shouldn't have been caught. And even though high-level people probably sanctioned it, the Chinese like to kill people. They executed 10 people publicly, but during the time between Christmas and the holiday and New Year's. Yeah, you guys, did you hear about? They did it like they brought people into a big auditorium, and they executed 10 people. Read up on it. This is the truth. So anyway, we caught them red-handed, and Donald Trump tweets out, "Hey, we caught you. You're violating the sanctions," and you can bet that Donald Trump he puts that little, information in his pocket. And when he talks to the Chinese again, he's going to say, hey, so we've learned you can't be trusted. Oh, sure, we can be trusted, Mr. Trump. It is no problem. We are very sorry. And Trump's going to go, yeah, you've been saying that. You've been telling us that for years. So here's what we're going to do. And I don't know what's going to happen. I can't predict but here's what I'll promise you. It will hurt financially the Chinese. The same way he'll talk about hacking. He'll talk about, and just for the record, you can bet, and I know we're off topic a bit here. Don't be looking at me like I know I'm off topic, but you can bet that our cyber warfare unit, the stuff that is super secret, clandestine stuff, you can bet Donald Trump is all over that. What he's going to do is he's not going to fight it in the standard way by saying, let's go in like what Bush did with in what they call zero day, where they went in and tried to destroy centrifuges and things like that. Donald Trump's going to say, we want to make sure that we can detect any type of intrusion immediately. And the minute we're able to detect it, I can go in and say, aha, now we got to be able to shut processes down. We can't let them steal, but I'm going to make it to where we know every move they make. I don't want it to be offensive. I want it to be defensive. And let me just explain to you why that's an amazing move. Because it's like in the martial arts. If you are super dominant over somebody, you can go on the offensive, but you still run risk. But if you're a smart fighter, you let the other guy throw the first punch because you've trained for that for so long. I can promise you, talk to any martial artist that you know. How many times do you do one steps or do you do spar, where you're looking for that little bit of movement? The body is used to looking for movement. So if it sees any twitch, then it's just a matter of who's quicker and who's got the most effective, technique. And it's pretty much going to be the martial artist. That's what Trump's doing with our cyber warfare unit.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
What's up, America? Happy New Year, you hooligans. Why do I call you hooligans? Because you are gangsters in 2016, the latter part. You celebrated 2016 like the world was coming to an end, and you have the left on tilt, you hooligans. That's right, you miscreants. That's what the left thinks of you. I got nothing but love for you. I got nothing but love. Oh, my goodness. 2018. Day 2 of 2018, isn't it? Yeah. This is what a celebration. I don't know what you did. I hope you hung out with family and friends, had a great time. I tell you this, I did a message to you guys that said, thank you so much for just being who you are. I don't have any fans. We're friends and family. And I can't thank you enough for what you did in the cause of freedom, because let me tell you something. If we hadn't done what we did, you know all the crap we'd be going through right now. But let me tell you what. This is a good news. This is all good news. You will have 365 days of good news in 2018, beginning yesterday. And more importantly, when you hear this show, I'm going to tell you all the great things that are happening and give you some insights so you understand just how great this country is becoming. We're going back to this what I call year 2 of the recovery. 2017 was year 1. This is year 2 of the recovery. And you're about to see what leadership of the greatest country that the world has ever known, with the largest economy that the world has ever seen, can do under real leadership, not finger quote leadership like Obama. So you ready for the new year? You started your resolutions. You got your bucket list, because let me tell you something. You should be writing down your goals. You should be looking at all the things you want to accomplish personally and professionally. And once you have all that stuff there, start deleting the things that don't matter anymore to you. Get rid of it. Yeah. So I was at church and the pastor talked about Solomon in the book of Ecclesiastes. And I'm not going to go all biblical on you, but essentially Solomon wrote a pretty, morbid book when he says, all this stuff that you've accumulated, all these things that you've done in your life are vapor. I think about this all the time. I get up in the morning and I got to go to war. I got to go to work, and I got to go to war with my own brothers and sisters in this country who are idiots. And I ask myself practically every day, why do you do it? There's a little voice in my head, God going, because I told you, Kevin. It's, well, it doesn't come quite like that, but it's almost like that. And because it's such a monumental waste of time to go after, try to convince people of sanity. And the naysayers, if I had a book and I published all the death threats and the Uncle Toms and all that stuff, I hope it would be a bestseller, but it would be replete with that stuff. And I asked myself, why? Why should I do this? Why should I put myself on the line? And I don't have an answer because, like Solomon says, at the end, it's all vapor. And there's something inside of me, and probably you too, that says it may very well be, but my children and grandchildren and your children and grandchildren should be able to have their chance at vapor. They got to do all the crazy things when you look back on your life and you go, man, I never should have done that. I was really stupid or whatever. And your kids are doing, so you watch them, they're doing the same crap. And you say to yourself, God, why bother? You teach them and they're going to redo the same thing and they're going to end up in the same place as you. And at the end of it, because there's a beginning and an end to all these cycles, right? There's the beginning of your life and the end of your life, and it's coming. And the more close you get to that, to that end of life, the more contemplative you think about all the stuff you did in the past. It was a waste of your time. And I'm just going to tell you right now, folks, this is a monumental waste of our time in the scheme of things, in terms of the quality of life. And some might even say, well, Kevin, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? I don't know. I'd probably be a crappy jazz musician at some bodunk, little bar, cheesy bar. Or I'd be traveling more and hanging out. But is that even, worthy of consideration of what's the meaning of life? I'm not trying to be morbid here, but here's what I will tell you. I don't even care. Unlike a lot of people who I've met in this industry, they're like, oh, it's important that I leave a legacy. I don't care what the legacy of this is. I fight every single day, scratching out the living because of this thing that burns inside of me that says America means something. I don't know what it means in the scheme of things. Maybe it is this biblical prophecy, I believe, that the good guys win in the end, that Christianity, Jesus comes back and, the rapture and there's 1,000 years of peace or whatever. I don't know. But what I'll tell you is there's something around that drives me to get up and do the same thing day in and day out. And we are rinsing and repeating 2018. The only difference between 2016 is that and beyond and back is I feel exuberant. I feel amazing, exhilarated over what the prospects are, wherever that may lead. I believe it's going to introduce you and me and many other conservatives and people around the world to this new thing. Let's just call it it. That it factor that Donald Trump brings. I believe the it factor is the American spirit, which is born of Judeo-Christian values. And I don't know where it all, the cosmic, makeup of all of it, but something tells me it's good and we're headed in that direction. And that's why I look at this year and go, yeah, it's rinse and repeat. 2017, we're going to fight it all over again, which, by the way, I love 2017. Yeah, baby. But I'm even more excited about 2018. And it isn't because it's necessarily going to impact me so much. I think it will. I think it's going to be an amazing year. I think this will be a breakout year for my team and for the conservative movement and all the effort that we've put in. I believe that in all my heart. But if it isn't, and it's another rinse and repeat of 2017, you know what? I'm okay. Probably so are you. The Democrats are in trouble. Leftism is in trouble. Evil is in trouble. We finally got evil on the run. All the leftists, there's, oh, Kevin, have you seen what's going on with Papadopoulos? He's testified. Let me tell you something. Papadopoulos, name them. Manafort, that's what they want to hang their hats on. The left, you're in for a very rude awakening to 2018, my friends. And in November, you're going to find out just how bad things are for you. So happy New Year, people. I'm ready for it. I love that you're hooligans. Short break. We'll be back in a bit.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Democrats say 2018 is going to be an amazing year for them, and I agree. In fact, I'll expand on that in a bit. But I want to play a clip. You get that clip. Paul Begala, he predicts a Democrat victory in 2018. I want to play this clip for you.
It's counterfactual. It's false, Rick. The Democrats would gladly work with him if he had
Donald Trump is a conservative ideologue who actually wanted to do
No, he's an autocrat who's trying to enrich himself in office, and he's succeeding. The Republicans seem to want to help him with that, passing a tax bill that lines Trump's pockets. Democrats unwilling to do that. But the Democrats have done very well politically in the year of Trump. They won a landslide in Virginia. They swept maybe even the majority of the House of Delegates. So a huge landslide in New Jersey, much more blue state. And they won a Senate race in Alabama. Now, I know there was allegations of child molestation. It's probably not the best message
issue there. Yes.
But if you just explain it away like that, it's like when Scott Brown won the Senate seat in Massachusetts. All my Democrats said, oh, it's a one-off, it's no big deal. We then rolled into the worst landslide we'd ever had in a midterm. This is what's going to happen in 2018.
That was a
landslide, blue waves.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. Kevin Jackson here, 844-551-8255, KJRadio.com. Landslides. He's predicting there will be a Democrat landslide. And here's what's funny about this. And I only want to look, you know what I'm about to tell you, except the angle. So he's using the landslide that he called in Virginia, where they did all what they did. By the way, a cheat election. The only way Democrats win is they cheat. Landslide in New Jersey, which he admits is a blue state. And then the Senate seat in Alabama, where the Republicans actually ran against their own candidate, who was accused of being a child molester from 30, 40 years ago. So he was painted in a negative thing, which, and Paul Begala knows, that Senate seat will go back to the Republicans in 2018. That's what he bases it on. He didn't give you a single policy position. Nothing. And that's what I want you to understand. These guys look at everything wrong. If I were a strategist, if I were working, going into this company that is the Democrat Party, and I said, okay, guys, let's look at what we've got. And they said to me, well, Kevin, things look good because we won Virginia, we won, New Jersey, and we've won this thing in Alabama. And I knew all the details around it. I would be like, psst, really? So what are your policy positions? How are you going to undo the agenda of Donald Trump? Because you had 8 years of building the agenda, and it cost you over 1,000 seats, 1,030 or 1,080. I can't remember the number. It cost you those. So what is it about that agenda do you want to keep? Do you think is going to be your strategy going? I mean, honestly, guys, I'm taking off my political hat. I'm putting on my management consulting hat, and I'm saying the policies of 8 years under the guy that you believed was the best thing since sliced bread cost you over 1,000 seats. Explain to me what happened. Not to go all Hillary Clinton on you, but what happened? Did the policies just not work? Were the policies not sold correctly? Because if you say that, I'm going to show you how much money you put into the sale of those policies. You know, how much did you invest in Obamacare? Political currency and real currency. What was its impact on the people? Forget polls, real life. Where do you think the people really sit with this? Because you no longer have the bully pulpit. This is the kind of conversation I would have with them. I'd say, so are you prepared to put a lot more money into Obamacare? Would you invest in selling that Obamacare thing? Yes or no? Now, here's the biggest problem that the Democrats have. I've said it before. I'll say it again. And this is the reason why they get a butt kicking but good in 2018. Yeah, feel good about yourselves. Happy New Year, conservatives. The reason not a single one of them voted to support a president who's got a track record of success, whether you like his politics or not, he's got a track record of success. So flip this. Make this about Obama. Make this that Obama got unemployment down first year, down below what even levels that they didn't think were achievable. Stock market higher than the levels they didn't even think were achievable. He saved Carrier. He brought manufacturing back. He's essentially revitalized the economy. He's got consumer confidence through the roof. I don't know at what levels, how far it goes back, but it's crazy, more high than predecessors. And every policy position, immigration, we've got illegal immigration down considerably. We've got, other than, cops are still being killed and a few Muslim terror acts from time to time. Pretty much Donald Trump's got his finger, he's pretty much plugged a lot of holes here. He vowed to take care of ISIS. He vowed to bring law enforcement, back to the forefront in America. And I could go on. And whether you like the thing with Israel or not, other people promised to do it and didn't do it. Look at all the broken promises, broken promises of tax reform, just doing something with it. So all that said, if tax reform works, and it will, what do the Democrats have? The only thing that Democrats can hope going into November 2018 of this year, yes, it is this year, is that something devastating happens to this economy. But show me where it is. How many companies do you think will be back here, will already have started manufacturing? If you believe that the money that's now come back into these companies by way of their tax cuts isn't going to find its way into this economy and start to show the effects of that, you're out of your mind. But they can't point to anything. I go back to what Begala said. You could listen to the entire interview. He can't tell you, oh, well, what are you going to do? You're going to bring in more illegals? You're going to bring in more refugees? Oh, you want to raise taxes, right? People are getting money back. The government is telling you it's not our money, and you think that's going to be your strategy? You're going to take money away? See, this is the beauty of it. Donald Trump is saying, go ahead, take the money away from people, because that's what you're going to run on. You're going to run on the idea that you don't want the people that make their money to be able to keep it, and now you're going to take it back. See, that's the way we've always allowed entitlements to occur. Oh, you give them, Medicaid or whatever, and then suddenly you go, well, we can't cut that. That's it's not entitlement. The entitlement is your money. Your money allows you to prep and do the things you need to do to make sure that your family can survive. But what these guys are doing is a joke. They have no policy position. Give me anything that Barack Obama ran on. He's going to empty out Gitmo. Fine. Okay, great. I don't care whether Gitmo exists or it doesn't exist. But what I do care about is, why are you releasing terrorists to go fight our troops? So our guys have the potential to die again. Donald Trump is eradicating ISIS. And you know what? They're starting to notice. Part of this hour, we will talk about how the left, we already played a clip from a guy named Smirkanish, who said Donald Trump is undoubtedly probably the most consequential first-year president in history. And the sooner the left recognizes this, the better, because ignoring this is going to be their downfall. And he's exactly right. But I will regale you with other clips from MSNBC, CNN. The writing is on the wall. People can no longer keep the tempest in the teapot. They now know exactly what we've been saying. Donald Trump's a rock star. He's a stud.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back. Kevin Jackson here. Patriots, all of you, loving you being here with me today. Yes, all right. Bringing in the new year together, radio-wise. And hopefully we will all have the year that I'll just say that God wants us to have. Because, here's the thing, folks. It's not our plan. It's God's plan. Understand that. Do what you can to work towards something. But here's the thing. Don't do it for yourselves. Do it for something greater than you. That's the reason why we do this, isn't it? We have better things to do. Honestly, do you really, unless you're just a debater and you just like arguing with dumb head, little crazy monkeys, there's no reason to be involved in politics and deal with leftists. It has to be for the greater good. Who wants to do this? I'm a funny guy at heart. I just want to laugh at stuff. I want to go to a party and somebody says, oh, Trump, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, whatever, and laugh. I don't want to be like, shut up. What, you don't know nothing. What are you talking about? What do you know about Donald Trump? I don't want to get into those kind of debates, but I do. Every day. Don't even start with me. I have 10 times more debates than probably anybody you know. I'm talking about on social media, on TV, sometimes on the radio show, whatever. I'm in 10 times, and I'm being conservative. Today, for example, I will engage in no less than 20 debates with leftists. And of course, I will absolutely destroy them. I will crush them like a bug. And I do it for you. It's funny. I'll be in a Twitter battle or some stupid debate with a leftist and spend 15 minutes over this till they finally just go, you're crazy, you Uncle Tom, whatever, bye. And then they cut me off. My social media people will tell you this. And I finally chase them away. And then I reflect and go, you just spent 15 minutes, Kevin, of your life that you could have done doing something else, right? But that's okay. Yeah. And by the way, I don't enjoy the debate. Do I enjoy? I enjoy winning. Of course I enjoy that. I enjoy demoralizing some bonehead monkey brain leftist. Yeah, I enjoy that. But there are things I enjoy more. But I get involved in it. And the reason is because it is a necessary thing to have to happen. Every time one of those guys loses, so I'll give you a good example. This one guy, he says, he literally starts out by saying to me, you are the worst piece of crap, to use a different word, because of something you said on a Fox. You're the worst piece of crap to humanity, blah, 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 blah. And I fired back, no, that would be your mother. And then he came back with something else, and I came back harder. I mean, this was like he's jabbing, and I'm slipping his jabs, and then I'm popping him good, right, beating him up. And then at the end, he goes, you're very mean-spirited. And I went, really? So I said, and I went back, I always go back to the original thing they send me, and I just quoted it and said, here's how you came to me. And then you're mad that I fight you back with vigor. So what you wanted me to do was to be a chump, right? Well, you didn't get a chump. And so then they realize, oh, shoot, yeah, you're right. I did say that. And I had one guy recently go, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. But almost every one of them, so what? You are that, blah, blah, blah. And then they run off. But you know what they run off? They run off with a message that conservatives don't take any crap. They will use your own words against you and show you the stupidity of your own ways. And those battles matter. And I do 20 of those a day. And they probably take anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes. You figure out how much time it is. Let's say it's an hour. If you think for 1 second I would prefer to spend my time that hour doing that nonsense versus something I really want to do, you're smoking. You live in Colorado and you're 420. You're smoking that reefer because I don't want to do it. But I'm not letting them get away with it. Anyway, here's what I want to tell you. There are so many signs that we are winning. And I played one earlier where McCormick, as I said Trump may be the most consequential president in history. But I want you to listen to other people talking about Trump. And in this particular case, should we do the Trump one first or should we do okay, they don't really directly speak to Trump. One of them is Paul Callan, who says he's a CNN analyst who says that the attacks on the FBI are justified. On another one, and let's cover this one first, MSNBC said that Obama underestimated Russian cyber tactics. So let's do the Obama one first.
And we begin with a new sweeping piece in the Washington Post that looks at how the U.S. underestimated cyber threats from Russia, finding inaction to be the most consistent policy. Early warning signs of a growing Russian disinformation threat included the 2005 launch of RT, the Kremlin-funded TV network. But the real wake-up call came in early 2014, when the Russians annexed Crimea and backed separatists in eastern Ukraine. According to the Post, an intercepted Russian military intelligence report dated February 2014 documented how Moscow created fake personas to spread disinformation on social media to support its broader military campaign. In the White House Situation Room in the spring of 2014, aides pitched President Obama on creating several global channels in Russian, Mandarin, and other languages that would compete with RT. The proposed American versions would mix entertainment with news programming and pro-Western propaganda. But President Obama brushed aside the idea as politically impractical. After the 2016 election, officials briefly considered rushing out a new order that, for the first time since the collapse of the Soviet Union, would authorize sweeping covert operations against Russia. But they opted against such a far-reaching approach and instead made use of an existing presidential finding designed to combat cyber threats around the world, rather than specifically Russia. Obama signed a separate order which gave the CIA the authority to plan operations against Russia.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So that was Chris Jansing, and her cohort, but she's reading this and she's going to go into a Q&A on the panel. And the critical things that I want you to understand are as follows. One, this is MSNBC. And two, they are quoting a piece from the Washington Post. These are two very leftist organizations. MSNBC, I don't need to explain it. Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, who hates Donald Trump. And they say how the United States underestimated cyber threats from Russia, going back to warning signs of Russian disinformation that were included in the 2005 launch of RT. If you haven't heard of RT, go look at it. They have a little green logo. And it's just like Al Jazeera or whatever else. And I don't consider it a propaganda arm. It's a media outlet from another country. What do you think they're going to do? Oh, America, you're so wonderful. They're going to tell you what things from their perspective. I think that's great. Al Jazeera is a good thing to have because it gives you what are the Arabs supposedly thinking. Now, I take them all with a grain of salt. What have we learned about media? If you think our media is crooked, do you think Al Jazeera is going to be on the up and up? You think RT, Russian television, is going to be on the up and up? No. But you at least get some perspective. So good. Bring it. I want to see it. But here's the point. They said the real wake-up call came in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea, backing separatists in eastern Ukraine. An intercepted Russian military intelligence report dated February 2014 documented how Moscow created fake personas. Now I want to move ahead. The media now starts to question Barack Obama. Why? Because of information from the Democrats. All this information is stuff that has been floating around in the Democrat world and through their emails and whatever. Now, WikiLeaks and Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch, they may have uncovered some of it, but this is all all stuff because of this investigation into Russia has really come to the fore. Their insistence on investigating President Trump's ties to Russia caused the spotlight to shine on the Democrats. But here's what, in January of last year, 2017, because a lot of people don't realize we are now in 2018. January of last year, they asked Barack Obama his thoughts on Russia. You'll remember prior to, in 2016, when there was all this talk of Russian interference by Trump, Barack Obama assured us there was no possible way that the Russians could hack our elections until they decided that they want to change the narrative. But here's what he said in an interview. He said he didn't misjudge the potential threats of Putin, despite U.S. intelligence reports that Putin had personally ordered a, quote, influence campaign to meddle in presidential elections. And here's what Barack Obama said specifically. I don't think I underestimated him. And I love that. He's not even sure about what he doesn't remember. I don't think I underestimated him. Either you did or you didn't. You say, I didn't underestimate him. Or perhaps I did underestimate him. But I don't think I did. Yeah, that's real definitive. And he says, but I think that I underestimated the degree to which in this new information age, it is possible for misinformation, for cyber hacking and so forth, to have an impact on our open societies, our open systems, to insinuate themselves into our democratic practices in ways that I think are accelerating. So what that is, that's gobbledygook for, yeah, I screwed up, but he won't admit it. Anyway, we'll be back.
Kevin Jackson on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. I'm giving you signs. Our theme today is signs. Things to look for in the coming year. And what's been going on from 2017 and what will continue, and how do you need to discern all this information coming at you? You know what's funny about all the information coming at you? The thing that you do that you need to learn how to do best is what to omit, what to say, I'm not interested. And I can tell you from personal experience in putting together radio shows, it's tough to go, is this going to be of interest to my listeners, my friends, and my family that's out there listening? Or is this just for my own, my own little curiosity? And is it important? Is it important to me personally? Is it important to the world at hand, etc.? You have to. It's separating the wheat from the chaff, and who knows? Some of you guys will say, Kevin, why didn't you cover so and so? And I go, like Sheila Jackson Lee and the whole incident with the plane. We did a meme on it, and we what did we put? We put Sheila Jackson Lee in first place, and we called it privilege class. See, there's economy class, there's first class, and there's privilege class. And we put privilege class where black congresswomen can kick everybody off of a plane or make them go sit at the back of the plane, like she's some kind of Rosa Parks. But I didn't write about it. People, Kevin, why don't you write about it? Because it was all you knew. What was I going to add to it? A little comedy? I did say, Holy Mother of Rosa Parks, because I thought that was kind of crazy that they kicked this white woman off a plane And it turns out this lady's like a big environmentalist. She's a big lefty. So again, the left teaches itself a lesson. Yeah, there are elitists that can get you kicked off the plane, environmentalists. You worked very hard so that black woman rights would surpass yours, and she could get you kicked off a plane. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Anyway, here's the thing I want to talk about in terms of signs, because the more I learn about Barack Obama, the more I chuckle at his abject incompetence. And the more I really just want to be the fly on the wall when leftists are really talking openly and honestly about their feelings about Barack Obama. They may like this lady that got kicked off the plane. She may publicly go, "I've done a lot to help black people. I don't understand it." But behind the scenes, you better know she's all, "Man, that crazy black woman, how they gonna kick me off a plane?" She went totally sister. That white woman went sister. You better know she did. She was finger up in the air, neck moving around. Go, "I can't believe they let that black woman on the plane in front of me. What kind of thing we doing here?" Yeah, she just went crazy, and deservedly so, because she's an idiot. Leftists think they're helping black people do what? What you help Sheila Jackson Lee do? Pull rank? Show you that Democrats believe themselves to be elitists? Let me tell you what I believe a true conservative would have done. They would have said, "Is there any way possible to get me on the plane?" "No, Mrs. Conservative, and I realize you're Congressman so-and-so or Congresswoman so-and-so, but we have no way." And they'd go, "Okay, fine. When's the next flight? What else could I take?" Sheila Jackson Lee didn't have some, "Oh, my mother's dying. I got to get home at this time." Look, we've all been there. I got stuck in an airport. I've been stuck in, I don't know, at least 5 airports in my life. Sometimes here in the States, a couple times internationally, well, at least one time internationally. It's no fun. But it is what it is. But not for them. Anyway, we were talking about what are the signs that people are starting to look differently? And I want to play this. This is Doug Schoen talking about the FBI. And Doug Schoen I think he's a Democrat strategist, but here's what he says about the FBI.
Doug, I wonder if this is going to backfire at all on the Democrats, only because it seems, well, we all know the Russians had some kind of interference in our election. But as this all starts to add up, what we're finding is that this so-called dossier, which was largely discredited by everyone, was somehow treated potentially as a reason for looking into the Trump campaign as the first place. If they find that, Doug, I just wonder if it's going to land the Democrats and Hillary Clinton's team in a whole lot more trouble than anyone anticipated.
Well, first, it's not Hillary Clinton's team anymore. Second, that's a very big if, Trish, and we don't know for certain what, if anything, the dossier was used in terms of the FISA court. And third, as you've reported, 4 people have pled guilty, including General Flynn, and we need to let the investigation run its course. That is not to say that there are not abuses in the FBI. The Republicans are right. We're seeing more and more of those every day. But you can do both. You can finish the investigation. You can see where, as Jason Chaffetz said, where the facts go. And you can also investigate the FBI, because what we're learning is very, very troubling, more so on a daily basis.
It took him a while to get there. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. But he, after laying out, General Flynn and Manafort and all, General Flynn, Manafort, Papadopoulos, none of them are they have nothing to report negative about Donald Trump. In fact, Papadopoulos said Trump asked him to arrange a meeting. Then they found out through his emails that wasn't the case. Moreover, when he testified, and we just posted on this, I think yesterday, when he testified, he says, "No, he didn't actually ask me to set the meeting. I was just trying to do it on my own." So after the White House turns over 20,000 of Papadopoulos' emails and says, here they are. The minute there was any sign of impropriety, here you go. Here's Donald Trump Jr.'s. Who else's do you need? So you explain to me how guilty people turn their stuff over versus what Hillary Clinton did, which is bleach bit, hammer disk drives and phones, delete her own emails, but run against freedom of information, fight stuff in court to keep stuff from getting out. Is that the way innocent people behave? Oh, I couldn't let you see my personal emails from my yoga and if you are not guilty, you say, here are all the emails. Go through them. There's 30,000 that I think you're going to have no relevance to what you're looking for, but you'll be able to rifle through those pretty quick. So here you go. And then put 125 investigators on it. We already know the fix was in. I don't need to go through that again. But here's the other thing I want to show you. I want to talk about, here's another sign that things are awry. And this is another discussion about the FBI. And this came from CNN. Here it is.
Because he went to Hillary Clinton's victory party, he needs to be gone. And then, is that it? Then can the investigation move forward?
As long as there's no more bias, and I think that we're getting to the bottom of that. I think also Congress should be able to access the problem with Strzok's firing is that the investigation was stonewalling Congress as to why he had been fired. I understand that it was politically sensitive and they were trying to play the political game. But the problem we have here is that the FBI appears to be inherently political, inherently biased. I think the director has done a good job with Strzok. He should have been more forthcoming about why he fired Strzok. I think Weissman needs to be gone. And I think, the director is moving forward resolutely to conclusion here.
But I mean, listen, Michael, it's just absurd on its face to think that the FBI is some den of lefty liberals. It just doesn't hold water. As you know, I mean, the people leading the investigation are Republicans, and the FBI is a crime-fighting organization that I think if you did a poll, most people would say that they were Republicans. It's just not the lefty organization that the president is painting it as.
No, I think that the people who have been called out, like Strzok and his lover, I think Weissman and others, are an anomaly at the FBI. I think most FBI agents, in fact, I know a lot of FBI agents, former and present, who I've worked with over the years, who are upset about the perception that their organization is political, and they're upset that of the behavior of some of these people at the investigation. The morale itself is a little bit low over at the FBI because of this perception, and weeding it out is probably the first thing that needs to be done.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So that was a guy by the name of Michael Caputo. He's having the discussion with Allison Camerata, formerly with Fox, who went over to CNN, and he essentially says the FBI appears to be inherently biased. How are you going to argue that? You know what the left's argument is? Well, it's not all of them. Come on. Ask yourself this. Do they argue that for police? When there's a cop killing, have you ever heard a person go, these CNN, MSNBC people go, look, the police are overwhelmingly good, etc. It's said so, so tepidly that it's overlooked by the case of, oh, this cop just shot a heinous criminal like a Michael Brown, or, I don't know, he wouldn't call him heinous, but certainly a criminal. He tried to kill a cop, or some of the other names that we all have come to know. But they don't say a word. They buy the narrative. But the idea that these very corrupt, at the highest level, FBI people don't represent the agency, well, they're the leadership of the agency. What do you mean they don't represent the agency? Of course they do. And then, well, let's take a poll. Most people would say the FBI is Republican. Really? So what's that supposed to mean? That the handful of Democrats running it aren't crooked?
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
And Merry Christmas again. People are saying Merry Christmas again, and we like the sound.
I mean, it's war on Christmas rhetoric, not his war on Christmas. Correct. So let's remember, President Trump isn't the only president who says Merry Christmas. President Obama, the First Lady Michelle Obama, said it many, many times.
Merry Christmas! Happy holidays! Merry Christmas, everybody! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everybody! I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I want to wish all of you a very, very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
Okay, so Margaret, I mean, this is a line that we have heard from Donald Trump many. Why does he continue? This is a dog whistle to the base because no one has ever stopped saying Merry Christmas.
Yeah, except for that if you turn on some of our competitive cable networks, they have entire hours and programming about the war on Christmas. And it is intended directly to go towards that cultural base that feels that other people are taking their America away from them. That was the dog whistle, Make America Great Again. Great from what, right? The people who are taking Christmas away from you. The people who are taking your policies away from you. The people who are taking, all of your teddy bears away from you. Whatever it is.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. That was Don Lemon with some leftist chick. And they were saying, oh, Barack Obama said Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. And I was thinking to myself, man, see, this is what happens when you're in an echo chamber of ignorance. By the way, Happy New Year to you folks. We're way past Christmas. 2018. We're sharing it together. But what was funny about the reason why I played that is because what Donald Trump was saying in Merry Christmas and what conservatives understand about it is finally we mean it. Barack Obama could say Merry Christmas all he wants, while he reminds us that Muslims are part of the reason how America got built. There were no Muslims in sight when America was built. None. So as Barack Obama allows the teachings of Islam in schools while not even letting you say the Pledge of Allegiance or talking about anything about God, while the left removes nativity scenes, while they try to convince you in every possible way that they have nothing but disdain for religion, attacking marriage. We know what marriage is. It's between a man and a woman. Oh, no, it isn't. It can be between two people that love each other. No, that can be a union of some sort. It can never be marriage, and it never will be in the minds of real conservatives. But no, they're not attacking Christianity. They're not attacking Christmas, which, by the way, has Christ in it. And Barack Obama, who won't even have anything related to Christmas in the White House, will celebrate Ramadan and talk about all the political issues surrounding the theocratic government or theocratic religion known as Islam, chastises us when these people go out and kill folks, kill Americans, kill Christians, doesn't say a word to them, doesn't talk about Islam, still wants you to believe it's a religion of peace, removes any references to it being terrorist, etc., while removing the fact that Christianity hasn't done anything to mankind negatively except to fight for its own existence when we were kicking the butts of these Muslims during the Crusades. But outside of that, we don't care. We don't have some equivalent of a caliphate that says you will be a Christian, you will learn Christianity. We don't go trying to convert Muslims around the world. We don't even care. If that's your religion, great. If you don't have one, we'll be happy to offer ours to you and not at the threat of a knife. But he's a Christian. He says Merry Christmas. Every year he said it. Yeah, and he meant it too, didn't he? Because Barack Obama's a real Christ follower. He's a real Christian. He's a person that if you were going to base your Christianity on something, you would certainly base it on him, the guy who mocked the Bible, from the party who booed God. I think you're getting my point. Anyway, I'm glad you guys are here. Tons to talk about. We're talking about signs. See, what I just said to you were the signs of leftist delusion. See, the left fall for the nonsense. Oh, Barack Obama said Merry Christmas. Well, verily, he's a Christ. He's a Christian. They don't want to point to any of the things I just talked about. Go back, if you can, find the clip of Barack Obama talking about the Bible. And somebody had written a speech where he was like, should we follow Leviticus? Well, you cut off the head of your child and you did this and you sacrifice a goat if you did that. And he's just essentially destroying the Old Testament of the Bible and mocking it. All because he wants Islam to be brought to the forefront. Told us that, NASA, some guy from NASA, he put there was a Muslim. He says, all of space exploration is because of Muslims or some nonsensical thing. The Muslims have contributed nothing of significance to this world since algebra. That's just look, go look it up. Do you think he's going to extol the virtues of Jews? I got to tell you, I've started doing research in the number of patents that the Jews hold, the technology they brought to the world, and so on and so forth. It is astounding that such a small minority group of people have brought so much, the number of Nobel Peace Prize winners, and I'm not talking about the junky ones like Barack Obama. I'm talking about physics, chemistry, and other sciences, things like that. These guys are amazing. Certainly, that's a race of people who has been touched by God. They stick together. It's amazing to look at that as a culture of people. Kudos to the Jews. So my only point to this is the left will try to give you signs like, well, look, he said he said he's going to help the poor. Hillary Clinton said she's going to help women. You've heard her say this. She's been saying this for decades. They will tell you a lot of stuff that they say, but they will give you little of what they do because they don't do much. They're just a bunch of liars. Do nothing liars that will tell you what you want to hear for their own benefit. And that benefit, I guarantee you, is going to cost you money. That's what you get. So that's why I played that clip. But hey, you know what? Amazing year coming up for you. Have you written down your goals? Have you put together the bucket list? How do you want the rest of your life to go? How much of this fight do we want to have? Let me tell you what we have to do in 2018, folks. First thing I'm going to ask you to do, go to teaparty.org and join the organization. And here's why. If we spend the next 3 years putting our foot on the throat of the left, you want to know what's going to happen? You will be able to have a lot of free time. Because once we expose what these leftists are doing, have been doing for decades, and it's about to come out in 2018, you're going to see more people arrested from the Obama administration than you even believe. Once we expose them, we can take it easy for the next decade. How do you feel about that? Would you like to relax a little bit?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful 4-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here, KJRadio.com. Check us out there. Share those links. In the year of 2018, we need your support like we've never needed it before. The next 3-year push for us will be our, what do they call it? The shock and awe. We're going to shock and awe the left, and we're going to need your help to do it. So get involved with us, shock and awe, okay? teapartycommunity.org. Share our links, KJRadio.com, KJRadio.com. Read our materials. Do what you can to promote what we do, because we do this for you. Look, Donald Trump has instituted something that's it's happening around the world. That we're finally in America. We're exporting excellence again. We're saying to people, take back your country, England, and it doesn't mean it in a negative way. It's not some nationalistic thing like the white people of England must unite. No, it's England, whatever defines you as a culture, and that has nothing to do with color. It has to do with what do you think when you think British? What do you think when you think French? And no-go zones and all this stuff that's happening with all the immigration that's changing the look of England. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the policies in Yemen are changing? Do you think the policies in, Dubai are changing? They're not changing. Whatever that culture is, which is strict Islamic, theocracy, it's not changed 1 inch. But go ask yourself what's changed in Canada, what's changed in the United States, the United Kingdom, Scandinavia. All these so-called white countries are being made to conform to what? Do you think Somalia is fundamentally different than it was a decade ago? And what is that influence? Is it an influence of is it the colonialization by the white man? The answer is no. Nothing's changed. The majority of the world is non-white. That part of the world is unchanged. And you know what it is? It's uncivilized. Go to Central America and see just how civilized El Salvador and these places are. Go anywhere. Pick it. Go to some areas of Mongolia or whatever and find out how civilized it is. How changed has the white man put into that culture? It's got very little. China, to me, is better off because the British had control of Hong Kong. If it weren't, it would be this amazing seaport city that would be infiltrated. It would be infused with communism, and it wouldn't be near the cultural center that it is today. But look anywhere where these white folks have lived. I'm not the Chamber of Commerce for white people. I'm just being honest with you. It's a great place to go. I've been to Sweden. I actually like it. It's a cool place to go. Go to parts of Canada. I was in Vancouver not long ago. Beautiful city, etc. Go to the areas of the United States that are not controlled by leftist Democrats, and you'll find out life is good. That's the way it is. So you look at what Donald Trump is saying. Look, we're going to go back to you, Germany, being able to say this is our German culture, our German heritage, and it's not going to be ruined by a bunch of Muslims who have decided we're going to we're going to make you like where we came from. Show me where they've come from that you go, boy, I'd really like to be like, Iran. I'd love to be like Kuwait, Iraq, Syria, Damascus, where, that's part of Syria. You get what I'm saying? Tell me where. Tell me where you want to be like Africa. Boy, it would be really great if we could adopt the policies of Ghana. Said nobody ever. So Donald Trump is saying to these countries, guys, look, be your best. Put your best foot forward. Stop giving up your culture. That doesn't mean you're racist. Go do your thing, baby. And these people act like, oh, man, that Donald Trump, he's such a blah, blah, blah. You can say what you want. Donald Trump is exporting exceptionalism. And it's about time. We finally got the world looking at itself differently and saying, I want to be like them. America has always been this melting pot, if you will. I prefer to think of it as a mosaic. It's always been that. From day one. And you know who fought against the mosaic? Democrats. Democrats hated Asians. Go back and look at their platform in the 1860s. They were the anti-Chinese. People think I'm kidding. They actually wrote it into their Democrat platform that they were against, I think they called it Sino invasion. Sino, like meaning like from the Far East. Anybody from the Far East. They didn't like Indians. I'm talking about East Indians. They didn't like the Chinese. They didn't like the poor from Ireland and everywhere else. They certainly didn't like black folks except to use them as slaves. And by the way, they were Irish slaves as well. And I could go on. That's what we're talking about here. And Donald Trump is saying, look, we are about excellence. And we're going to show you how we can be excellent. And you should follow along. And what's funny is the Democrats think their strategy is going to be to demonize, a Donald Trump. But it's not going to work. Anyway, the reason why I brought all this up is I think the impetus for the Iranian protest is because they see this as an opportunity to say to the world, we no longer want to live under this regime of Iran. Now, 12 people were killed in 4 days of demonstrations in Iran. And there wasn't a whole lot from American media about this. And this has been the biggest protest, if you will, since 2009. It was a huge series of protests that year. Now, the president of Iran, a guy named Rouhani, has been saying, look, guys, you can peacefully protest. He tried to say it's not a big deal. This is a huge deal. I have insiders with the Iranian resistance who are still getting us information out despite Iran shutting down the internet and everything else. There are guys that are inside. They're telling us stuff that's going on there. And I just want you to understand, you've got this regime that imprisons people, kills people by the thousands, has done this before. I was in Paris meeting with these folks last year. Well, actually, the year before. I think it was 2016. And we were discussing these very issues. This is a dangerous regime that is promoting terror throughout the world. And I think that Donald Trump, with his tweet to Pakistan saying, first tweet of the year by him, according to some of the news sources, where he says, we're not giving you any more money. I think that's a shot over the bow to the entire world that says, we're going to start addressing this issue. And the first thing we're going to do is we're pulling back our financing. You will no longer be financing your countries and terror with American taxpayer dollars. And then the next step will be he's going to put his focus on Iran. He can't take his focus off North Korea because the Chinese have proven they can't be trusted. But you're going to watch a shift, and he'll have one eye on North Korea, one eye on Iran. And this challenge to Iran is going to be taken advantage of by Donald Trump. Trust me.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
In fact, if the pace of change continues for the duration of Trump's presidency, however long that might be, I think he could become the most consequential president in the modern era.
When you look at what President Trump signaled all year, foreshadowed all year, I go back again and again to day 2 of the presidency, standing at that CIA wall, just blowing up orthodoxy. The idea that there is no hallowed ground in American politics or policy where you can't make a political statement, you can't signal your political intentions. And I think the rest of the year has followed on that front. He's very much shown
with the Indian code talkers.
He's very much shown that the regular rules don't apply to him. I think the question is, has he blown up the regular rules for everybody else too?
But to Rich's point, he's been obviously brutally harsh on the press.
Yeah.
Right. Fake news and all that, enemies of the people, over the top. But he's actually been an incredibly media-friendly president, even before he started handing out pens. I mean...
Did you get a pen, Jonathan?
I wasn't there.
Somebody needs a pen. There's a duality there. In the short term, in the day-to-day, in terms of coverage and that sort of access, absolutely. There was a ton of interaction with the president. In the long term, in terms of if you believe that the free press is sort of a pillar of American democracy.
Or the Department of Justice or the FBI or our intelligence agencies.
It's been very destructive on that front in the long term. And so it's both.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. That is the left talking about Donald Trump, and he's been a very accessible president. Let me tell you, Obama, the criticism of him was how he orchestrated the media in the sense of you get access, you don't. And it got to the point where he had them fighting. They were like, please treat us good and we'll say pretty things about you in our paper. And it became this love fest no matter what he did. And let me tell you, congratulations to them, because that clown lost them 1,000+ offices in 8 years. And if you were to read about it, you go, wow, he's amazing. I don't know. Look, we're going to get our litmus test in 2018. Either Donald Trump's on the right, which for the record, we know he's on the right track. I'm not going to try to be all dogmatic and say no matter what happens, because if we get our clocks clean like Obama did in 2010, we'll have a wake-up call. But I'm going to make a prediction, and I've already done it, so it's not like this is new, but we're going to clean their clocks. But here's what happens. If, for the sake of discussion, we were to get crushed in 2018 the way that Barack Obama got crushed in 2010, we would be crazy not to at least step back and go, what happened? Now, keep in mind, we don't cheat. I honestly, I don't know Republicans that cheat, but let's say that they do. We don't cheat to the level of Democrats. I guarantee you we don't. We aren't strategizing about, how do we get more illegal votes to come in our favor. We're not bringing in Mexicans and refugees and prisoners and everybody else, dead people. We're like, look, let the vote go where it goes. We want it to be a free and fair election. But the left don't do that. But if, for the sake of discussion, if Donald Trump were to get his clock clean and we were to get our clocks clean, I would be the first to go, wow. Now, the first thing I would think is cheating. And I'm going to tell you right now, we better be vigilant, because the only way, my voice creak? The only way we lose this election in 2018, I'm talking about overwhelming seats that they are claiming. Paul Begala, I played a clip from him. The Democrats are going to clean their clocks because he's looking at all this. Oh, well, look at what happened in Virginia. Look at what happened in New Jersey. Look at what happened in Alabama. And I'm thinking, look at what's happening right now before your very eyes as Donald Trump continues rock star status. And we wrote a piece that showed the number of people who still credited Barack Obama for the economy in, say, May of this year, and who now, and it was 60-something% credited Barack Obama in May, and now only like 27%. It's a huge jump. So and then in May, they said Trump was responsible for the economy was like, say, 30%. I don't know the numbers, but now it's well into the 40s. So Trump is now almost surpassing Obama in terms of whatever. I think Obama may still be 1 point up as of November. So I said, well, when they get the December numbers, you're going to see less people credit Obama with the economy. I mean, it was every single month Obama's numbers went down and his numbers dropped like 30 points. Every single month, Trump's numbers went up, and that line is about to cross in December. December of last year is when Trump was given more credit for the economy than Obama. January of this year, when that report comes out, it's going to distance itself further. And by July, August of this year, Trump will be considered, in polling, 60-70% minimum responsible for the economy, and there'll be a few Obama holdouts, but it'll be 20% at best. That's what you can look at. That chart was the best indicator, in my opinion, of where things sit with Donald Trump than almost anything I've seen to date. It was, and keep in mind, I don't remember where the chart came from, because I'd really like to be able to tell you it was lefty or righty, but whoever did it, knowing how the numbers are all skewed against Trump anyway and skewed on behalf of Obama, the fact that Obama consistently dropped 3-4 points a month all the way into November, and Trump was gaining 4 to 5 points a month all the way into November, and where that trajectory was headed, no question, we are seeing this monumental shift, folks. Monumental. Now it gets even more shocking. Donald Trump's approval versus other world leaders. Now, at the end of his first year, leftists had lost their mind because Rasmussen came out with a poll, and that poll showed Donald Trump statistically tied with Obama at the end of year one. Now, I want you to consider what we're talking about here. We're talking about a president, Barack Obama, who he lost, I want to say it was over 5 million jobs year one, unemployment 11 point something percent. It was dismal. The numbers are so bad. It's actually shocking how bad they were. And then you contrast that with Donald Trump, who barely made a dent in the deficit, in the debt. Barely made a dent. We're over 20 trillion, but it's minuscule. Barack Obama's debt load at the end of his first year was, he'd added a couple $1 trillion to the debt. And the budget had ballooned. And the only good indicator was the stock market was up like 23%. And the thing I saw only showed the S&P, didn't show the Dow. Trump's numbers were 20%, a little lower on the S&P, but higher on the Dow. And every other indicator was, I'm talking about through the roof. Obama lost 5 million jobs. Trump, they said, had gained 1.7 million. So that'll just give you some perspective. So they were at a statistical tie. And this is with Donald Trump being, all the beat down they've given him in the media. And he managed to tie Obama, who they were still propping up after everything this guy had promised and couldn't deliver on. They were still propping him up. And so here's Trump statistically tied. So the media was mad. What's he doing bragging about this? There are other polls that show that he's not doing nearly as well. And I jokingly said, yeah, these are the same polls that had him losing the election. But his best indicator, in my opinion, is not what the polls are saying about him, but what are the polls saying about other world leaders? It got me curious because I want you to understand, every world leader outside of Trump is a socialist or a communist. Every one of them. They've all followed some doctrine of socialism, entitlement programs, giving away, open borders, the whole thing. How's it working out? And so I wanted to find out. So I started with Mexico's Peña Nieto, and Pew had him at 28% approval. And here's what they said. President Enrique Peña Nieto's popularity has continued to plunge